Hey friends, how are you? How's it going? Welcome to another episode of IELTS video podcast. Actually, it's been a while that we haven't had the opportunity to create a new video podcast. It's because both of us have a lot on our plate, but thankfully we are here for another video. Without further ado, let me welcome my dear friend Mehdi. Long time no see, man.
Yes, it's great to be here, man. I would like to say hello to you and our viewers. It's great to be here, man. I miss you.
Okay, great. So let's quickly jump straight to the question. This is the second test of Cambridge 16. Could you please read it for us, Mehdi?
Yes, it says in their advertising, businesses nowadays usually emphasize that their products are new in some way. Mm-hmm. Why is this? Do you think it is a positive or negative development? It's a classic example of a two-part question. So what do you think about like the whole concept of newness? Mm-hmm. Why everyone says that the product is new? What do you think?
So when I want to generate some ideas, first of all, I think about some examples. For example, first of all, I think about some mobile phone manufacturers like Samsung, Apple, and Xiaomi. For example, they present new features in order to cover a broader range of customers, and they just want to set themselves apart from their competitors. So we're going to read my writing. But for example, recently, Samsung in its new mobile phone said that we have a new feature called Circle Search, which has not been presented before, and it can help Samsung to take a step ahead and compete with other rivals such as Apple and other mobile phone vendors. And so what about you? What do you think? What are the reasons?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And it's interesting that these two writings are amongst the few that they have a lot more in common, of course, with different vocabulary. Yeah. Let's just delve into yours first.
Okay.
Mohammad's writing. Thank you so much. Let's start with the intro.
Let me read my introduction. As an advertising policy, companies highlight the newness of their products in recent times. It seems that there are two primary reasons why they have chosen this way of advertisement. In my view, while this trend brings about some benefits for companies, the effects on customers are mostly negative.
Well, I already highlighted some interesting parts here. I start from the beginning. Instead of emphasize, you just chose the word highlight the newness, which is great. That's we're going to see a lot of these paraphrases here in your essay. Mm-hmm. Highlight the newness. That's really good. Or I just want to talk about vocabulary first. Primary reasons. That's wonderful collocation here. And then you said trend brings about. This trend brings about. That's another good one. And also beautiful contrast between the words benefits for the companies and negative. These are all, it's a great contrast, benefits and negative. And also I noted two really interesting grammatical point. One of them is they have chosen you. It's kind of rare to see people use present perfect in their essays, but this one is brilliant. You said primary reasons why they have chosen this way of advertisement. So that's great.
And a present perfect is an easy structure, but it can help me improve my GRA score.
Absolutely. And it's kind of tricky to use. Another one is the word while. It's great to show contrast. You said while this trend brings about some benefits for companies, comma, the effects on customers are mostly negative. So we use while to show contrast, and I think that was brilliant. Perfect.
Thank you very much. So let's move on to my first main paragraph, where I'm going to talk about the reasons. Setting themselves apart from the competitors and attracting new customers appear to be the main reasons. Presenting new features can make a company outstanding, helping it take one step ahead of its rivals. For example, this year Samsung introduced the Circle to Search feature on its latest mobile phone, which has never been used in other mobile phone brands such as Apple or Xiaomi. The appeal of this AI feature has convinced some iOS users to switch to Android devices. Covering a broader range of customers may also be another reason for focusing on the novelty of their products. Sony, for instance, constantly presents new cameras with new features. R series for those who just want to take photos, hybrid cameras for both photography and videography, and ZV series for vlogging purposes. These new products can meet the needs of more people and encourage them to choose at least one of the items.
Perfect. Perfect. As always, my friend. That was wonderful. One thing is that this paragraph contains 153 words, whereas the next one is only 106. I personally, I always try to keep the tolerance, the difference between word counts in two paragraphs, just 20 words. But this one is, this one is a bit too much.
Yeah.
So if I were you, I would like cut it down a bit, or alternatively, I would have written a bit more in the next one. So the difference is just 20 words. That's what I think. What do you think? Have you heard anything about the proportion?
I usually follow a method to just write 5 or 6 sentences for each body paragraph. But while I was writing, I came up with some examples for the first body paragraph. But I take your point. See, I agree that at least it should be closer, that the number of words should be closer to each other.
Yeah. But yeah, I understand that. I totally understand that. And I already highlighted the 2 examples, really, really detailed, in-depth and technical examples. I personally have no idea about these. This is absolutely new to me. Both examples of Samsung, Xiaomi, and the other one, vlogging. Everything was perfect here. And another point is, for the topic sentence, you said setting themselves apart from the competitors and attracting new customers appear to be the main reasons. So I would have explained a bit more the main reasons for what. So I could kind of paraphrase the topic one more time in my topic sentence.
And establish a clearer central idea. Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. The rest is perfect. You skillfully chose competitors here, and several lines below you said rivals. So paraphrase used really skillfully. Also, it's replete with great vocabulary, presenting new features, company outstanding, take one step ahead of the rivals, setting themselves apart, covering a broader range of customers. And another interesting thing is that when you're switching from one point to the next, it's absolutely mind-blowing here. You said also be another reason. So that's brilliant. That's very subtle. And this is what I encourage always. That's absolutely marvelous. You said also be another reason.
Yeah. So
and that's
instead
very,
of writing
very
moreover, so here we can write moreover, covering a broader range of customer. That's perfectly fine. But we are going to avoid drawing attention. So I put also instead of putting a link at the beginning of my sentence.
Just brilliant. Just brilliant.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on to your body paragraph 2.
Okay. In my opinion, this trend does not have the same effects on the companies and customers. On the one hand, manufacturers can benefit from continuously introducing new items. Attracting new customers, as mentioned in the last paragraph, can help them generate more revenue, increase their sales, and grow their business. However, this advertising strategy cannot always be a positive development for buyers. Companies may create artificial needs and promote consumerism so as to persuade their customers to buy the things they do not need. I remember I was convinced to borrow some money to buy a brand new smartphone, even though my last phone was perfectly working.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, first of all, I would like to start with the word pairs, or I would say a pair of phrases that you used. You said on the one hand, you introduced the first point, and then you said, however. That's brilliant. This is really great to show that your ideas, kind of contrasting each other. And if you get a step back, you can see that you looked at the topic in a really interesting way. You separated the customers and the producers. And I think that's genius. That's very, very good. Another thing is that your personal example, which is perfectly fine with me at the end to demonstrate it much, much better. And also the use of a lot of great to the point topic specific, less common vocabulary, such as generate more revenue, increase their sales, grow their business, create artificial needs, and consumerism. And it's interesting that consumerism, a bit later in your conclusion, you also paraphrase that. So I think it's that your LR is definitely 9. If there would be like a 10, I would have given you 10, man. That was brilliant.
Okay, thank you very much. And finally, let's wrap it up. And in conclusion, advertising new products is because of competing with other companies and encouraging a more extensive range of customers to buy the products. While it can help businesses grow, it promotes a more materialistic culture for customers.
Yeah, here, as I said, instead of consumerism or culture of consumerism, here you said materialistic culture, which is great. And also you use the word while again to show contrast at the end. And it's interesting. One more time, you said competing. I think it's also a subtle paraphrase of competitors and rivals. And that is something that you thought about it. And I think this is intentional, right?
Yeah,
Can you just, for the viewers, for my students, your students, they want to know,
so
how do you come up with that? I think coming up with different parts of a speech is a great way of paraphrasing things. What do you think?
Yeah, it's one of my techniques to use different parts of a speech, okay? So I use the noun form, the adjective form, and the adverb form so as to improve my lexical resource variety. So it's actually one of my techniques.
Wonderful. Perfect.
Okay, thank you very much. And let's move on to your writing. Could you please start with your introduction?
Yeah, sure. I said today businesses and their adverts often highlight the fact that their products are new and unique in some ways. This might be due to their efforts to overcome their rivals or attract more customers, and it has some pros and cons as discussed here in this essay.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's highlight some good lexical resources, highlight the fact that their products are new and unique, perfect paraphrase, and efforts to overcome their rivals, also attract more customers. Again, we see easy to understand collocations, but they are great because there's some sort of misunderstanding among many IELTS candidates that we need to use difficult and heavy words, and they think that when we read an essay and we understand the vocabulary, it's a bad thing. It's actually a good thing that we understand an essay. We should use a variety of vocabulary that are precise, and we should come up with a good range. And perfect, and you've given us your answer, but I'm just going to talk about my style of writing. So if I were to write, I would give my position clearly, even in the introduction. You've said that it has some pros and cons as discussed here in this essay, and we will see a very clear position throughout your essay. That's perfectly fine, but personally speaking, I prefer to put my view clearly in the introduction.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so
Thank you so
let's move on
much.
to your first body paragraph.
All right. I said, when a particular business keeps mentioning that its product is new, it is trying to say that there has never been anything like it in the market. In other words, it is giving you something that its competitors cannot. In this way, they wish to grasp a bigger market share than other similar businesses. Furthermore, it is giving its customers the message that they are focusing on innovation and creativity. This has always been an attractive message for many customers since everyone yearns to have something for the first time. It is often considered a status symbol that makes the owner stand out amongst the crowd. For instance, that is why as soon as a new iPhone is out, people queue outside Apple stores to be the first to purchase them. So I'm an iPhone guy, you're a Samsung guy, but the problem is the same. One more thing is I just want to mention that, do you remember you said outstanding?
Yeah.
So I just used the stands out amongst the crowd. You see that?
Okay. Great. So let's focus on the link between your sentences. You've used a great range of cohesive devices. Like in other words, like in this way. Furthermore, and for instance, and the good thing is that it's not mechanical, it's not forced, you've used them accurately, and so your ideas are to the point, you've presented your ideas and you develop them. The only thing I can say that for this point that I'm just going to highlight, you could have been more precise. It's a little bit, so we see some sort of overgeneralizing, like wish to grasp a bigger market share. So if I,
all right.
So I guess Mehdi was disconnected for a while. So I was saying that, so for this point, they wish to grasp a bigger market share. You could have been more precise, perhaps giving us a more to the point example could have been a good idea. The rest is fine. We see a wide range of lexical resources. For example, focusing on the innovation and creativity. I'm just going to highlight some easy collocations that can improve our score. Attractive message. Even this one, status symbol, and stands out. Yeah, queue outside, perfect. And when we see a band 8 or band 9 or, you know, an advanced user of English, we mean that this user has enough language to talk about the precise meaning and content. And we see this one, okay? So we're not looking for Shakespeare words. We see that you've given us some contents and you have enough language for that. That's what we are looking for. Great.
Thanks, man.
So let's move on
to
the second
paragraph. Yeah, sure. I said, economically speaking, when businesses in the advertisement emphasize that their products are new, it can be considered a plus point. In this case, customers are tempted to spend more, which in turn creates more employment and strengthens the economy. However, it fuels consumerism at the same time as well, because it creates a false sense of necessity in consumers in such a manner that they feel obliged to buy new products. It can also have destructive effects on the environment, since the production process needs energy and resources. It inevitably damages the environment through carbon emissions and possible toxic waste. In the fashion industry, for example, a new line of clothing and accessories promoted every month, which can have severe environmental consequences.
Okay. In this paragraph, I just want to draw our audience attention to the use of natural complex structures. So all of the sentences are complex, okay, but they are not forced. So we can see when is a subordinate, which can make your sentence complex. Customers are tempted, you've used the passive voice, you've used which, and because, and again we have since, and through. Again is prompted, and again we have which. So I just want to say that your sentences are perfect in terms of grammatical range and accuracy, because again there is another misunderstanding that we should use not only but also the more if clauses always to get a high score. But we see that all of your sentences are complex, and as a result you'll get a very high score definitely. Okay, and the rest is fine. A clear topic sentence, to the point ideas, and you've developed your ideas perfectly.
And let's talk about a plus point. Come on, you have to see that.
I forgot about it. Yes. I've read in a book called Mindset Files 3 that plus point is mostly used in the speaking. It's more an informal phrase, so So according to that book, it's better to avoid a plus point in the writing.
And this is to tell everyone that we don't censor. If we come across anything, we just say it and we don't correct ourselves, which is great. Thank you, man. And I'm just going to end this with, to conclude, it can be said that the reason why businesses claim that their products are new can be due to the urge to win the competition against their rivals and to stimulate people's sense of superiority. It can have positive economic effects, while the same cannot be said for its environmental effects.
Okay, I said that at the beginning, I said that in the introduction, I put my position, but you've clearly mentioned your position in the conclusion, and it's great because we can draw this conclusion from your main paragraph. And we see some good language, like stimulate people's sense of superiority, perfect language. And yeah, your final position is completely similar to mine, even though we didn't know what we were writing about. And
absolutely.
Okay, great. Any final words, Mehdi?
Yeah, that's great that we're doing this, and I think we try to do it kind of more often. I know that both of us are busy, but let's keep the ball rolling, and probably every other week we get together and we do. And I want you to promise everyone that we're going to do the next one in Cambridge 16, test 3. Okay?
Test 3. Okay, so let's keep our fingers crossed for another video very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.